Sawadee Krap. Today is Wednesday, July 14th. Welcome to Phuket Extra, brought to you by PVC Phuket. Visit them on Facebook. A tourist who entered the island through the Phuket Sandbox scheme and is now in quarantine. She got a visit from the TAT, all while Phuket officials deny claims that unhappy Sandbox tourists have gone home, claiming it as fake news. In a live broadcast this morning, Phuket Vice Governor Piyapong Chuwong has denounced posts on social media that the Phuket Sandbox tourists were unhappy with their holiday and have already flown home as fake news. Although he did admit that tourists have flown back home because they didn't want to enter quarantine after one of the people on their flight tested positive for the virus. Phuket Provincial Public Health Office Chief Dr. Kusak Kukiatikun, who also joined the live broadcast this morning, explained that tourists can fly out of the country anytime if they've tested negative for COVID-19. Dr. Kusak had earlier this month denounced claims on social media that the Delta variant of COVID was present in Phuket, calling it fake news, only for him to finally confirm the news days later. The Phuket Sandbox program was created for Thailand to accept vaccinated arrivals with no quarantine, although all people are tested for COVID upon landing, and those who are found infected are put into quarantine, as well as people who are near them during their flight. This is what happened to German national Stephanie Koreny, who had been preparing to come to Thailand for 6 months, even losing money on a quarantine hotel booking in Bangkok when the Phuket Sandbox program was first proposed. Stephanie wrote a whole essay about her experience, which you can see on the PhuketNews.com. It describes her trip prior to and after arrival. Just one day after she landed and tested negative for the virus, she was told by her hotel that she was a high-risk contact, as one of the people on her flight had later tested positive for COVID-19. No help was given by any authorities from that point on, and she had to scramble to find a quarantine hotel for 14 days, a task that was actually difficult given that many of the hotels on the island have reopened for the Phuket Sandbox program to take in tourists, not infected patients or high-risk contacts. She was charged 52,000 baht for 2 weeks at a quarantine hotel in Patong. In the article, she questions why authorities provided no help at all and why the quarantine period has to be a full 14 days, insinuating that several negative COVID-19 test results should be enough to at least cut down the quarantine time for high-risk contacts. Her post and article, which was published a few days ago, the Tourism Authority of Thailand reached out with some fruit baskets saying they will take her questions and concerns into consideration. Meanwhile, officials said today that another tourist, a woman from South Africa who arrived under the Sandbox program, has tested positive for COVID, the 7th international arrival since July 1st. Out of those 7, only 1 tested positive upon arrival. The other 6 tested positive on their second test on day 6 or 7. Since July 1st, Phuket has seen 5,368 arrivals under the Phuket Sandbox scheme, and while the infection rate among them is 0.14%, 313 people considered high-risk contact are in quarantine in 300 rooms at 3 quarantine hotels in Phuket. For more, visit thephuket.news.com. The 2 latest deaths in Phuket attributed to COVID-19 were of a 57-year-old woman and a 92-year-old patient who was suffering from long-term health conditions, according to Phuket health officials. Phuket Public Health Office Chief Dr. Kusak Kukiatikun announced the details this morning as 8th and 9th COVID-19 deaths in Phuket occurred this week. A 57-year-old woman who had been under care at a hospital for 1.5 months and had severe infection in the lungs, while the other was a 92-year-old who was also bedridden in a hospital for the last 2.5 months. Meanwhile, officials have not provided a COVID-19 daily case update since Monday as of this recording. And at last report, Phuket has seen 788 total cases since the third wave started in early April, with 72 people still receiving medical care. Meanwhile, Bangkok officials are reporting 87 more COVID deaths along with over 9,000 new cases. The new total is 363,029 cases since the pandemic began, along with 2,934 deaths. 72% of total patients have recovered. Phuket Extra, we're back after this.
Did you service your car in the last 6 months? Come to the new My Car Repair Quick Service Workshop at Monument. Using only the highest quality products imported from Germany and professional mechanics at the best price. Guaranteed fast service to give you lower fuel consumption and longer engine life.
Welcome back to Phuket Extra. The Thai Food and Drug Administration has given approval while the Ministry of Public Health looks to authorize the sale of over-the-counter COVID-19 antigen test kits, which could be made available as early as next week. The test kits are registered with the FDA for sale in Thailand and so far authorized medical institutions, medical clinics, medical technology clinics, and pharmacies with a licensed pharmacist on duty would be allowed to sell the COVID test kits. And despite advertisements on social media and e-commerce platforms, online sales of COVID-19 test kits in Thailand are prohibited. The Bangkok Post reports that the prices of the kits will range from 200 baht to 700 baht apiece. The FDA and the Department of Medical Science is speeding up the production of a short video clip to be released, which is aimed at educating consumers on how to use the rapid test kits correctly. For more, visit thephuket.news.com. Thailand is looking to draw up its own policies when it comes to space. That's why the cabinet approved in principle the draft of the Space Affairs Bill. The bill was proposed by the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. The whole thing is to not only draw up space policy for Thailand, but also create a so-called new space economy to develop businesses here in Thailand that would drive space technology further in the kingdom, to promote space exploration, space research, rocket design, satellite internet services, and more. So far, Thailand is said to have over 35,000 businesses linked to space and related industries. The bill calls for several things, including the creation of a National Space Policy Committee chaired by the Premier to draw up space policy, along with a new Space Administration Agency to perform secretarial duties for the committee. The bill would also empower the director of the agency to appoint officials and promote space affairs. Let us know your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining us today on Phuket Extra, brought to you by PVC Phuket. Check them out on Facebook. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, stay classy, Phuket.
Phuket's rapid modernization has made it one of the world's premier holiday destinations. Investors can still buy quality condominiums for as low as $75,000 and luxury properties can go all the way up to 20 million. Condominiums in Phuket are a safe, secure bricks and mortar investment offering foreigners freehold ownership. Call or email Thai Residential, Phuket's #1 trusted real estate advisor, to find your perfect Phuket property.